Good.
Yeah.
Please change
Let
the
me
slide.
maximize that. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me maximize it. Um, and I normally put hit this blocking. Here we go. There we go. And I am a professor at the
Good.
Hilton College at the University of Houston. I've been here for 14 years now. As soon as I get my PhD, I've been working at the University of Houston. Anyway, so that's the idea behind I found this topic. How to find research topics for data-driven research, partially because that is my kind of research, and then also with Dr. Koo, and I was just thinking that you probably many of you are exposed to data-driven research, and many of you are interested in pursuing that route. So that's the reason why I chose, how to find topics for data-driven research. And I want to make this session as very interactive. So please feel free, really feel absolutely free to stop me and ask any questions. And I really mean it. So um, um, please, to understand you better, please raise your hand if you have participated in a research project before. I was trying to see how do the participants. Oh, they can't raise their hands.
No.
No,
Probably they are shy or probably actually not.
you can. I think there's a button that you can raise your hand virtually. No.
Okay.
Anyway, don't be shy. I mean, you don't need to speak up now. I mean, hopefully, as time goes by, you feel more comfortable. But have you participated in a research project before,
Uh,
or maybe Dr. Koo, you can answer the question.
yes, I am.
I mean, no, not about you. I mean, you're. I the participants, like students, participating in this room, if they have participated in multiple research projects by now, or they are like beginning to learn what is research. I just try to learn where they are. Probably some of them have um, had they participated in research projects before? Yeah, you can nod if you've done, or many of them they're like it is their very first uh, semester conducting research. Is that the case? Yeah.
I think
All right.
they are somewhat involved in, but probably their role just be a supportive role for supporting their professors or just as a uh, junior researcher.
I
Uh,
see.
I think they don't generate the research idea for themselves or for the project.
Yeah, definitely. When I was a master's student, I mean, it was the same cases. Most of the cases, I mean, that's the how we start learning about research. But this question was, regardless of your role, if you have, if you're part of a research project, that I wanted to raise your hand. So the reason I was asking is, um, you know, to understand where you are, but also that leads to the next question that I wanted to ask, which is how did you find your most recent research topic? based on the information that Dr. Ku just mentioned or shared, you may already, have a research topic already decided by your advisor, right? And then, you're doing probably doing some kind of a literature review, or collecting data, or involved in the data collection or data analysis. Whatever role that you got out of that project, and then you are doing it, and that is a really great way to learn about research. And that was a case for me as well. But think about the most recent research topic, and it can be your topic that have been thinking for this semester's research topic. So what how do you find, well, what is your plan to find your research topic? Or have you heard from your advisor, your professor, or other people in the research project, how they come up with that idea? What can be the ways to find the research topic? Anybody?
Hmm. Nobody say anything? Wow. Definitely we are Korean.
That's okay. That's okay. But so there can be, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm curious. I want to know, right? So how you find the research topic? There are, there are the many different ways to do that. And I want to show you this puzzle piece, right? I mean, you get an ideas from different or insights from different sources, and in many ways, it intertwines, and at one point and oh, this gonna be my next topic, and that can be the case as well. But definitely your exposure to a research articles, that's definitely a really important one, because research, that is a conversation and dialogue from the prior findings to the new ones. So in order to sell your ideas, why this is important, you want to mention like what conversations, what dialogues has been made on this particular topic, and that way, without knowing it, you cannot justify the value of your research. So definitely reading research articles on a regular basis is really critical. And it can be a journal articles, and maybe you have your dream journal, or your the journal, the target journal that you want to publish, this year, next year, or or whatever the reason you like the journal. Then you may choose the journal that of your choice, and then set aside a time to read through the top titles and an abstracts, and then maybe you want to set aside 1 hour per week, and skim through the titles, and if something is interesting, you click the abstract and then read it, and if it's really interesting, then you can download it and read the entire thing. But it can be good thing, and also it doesn't need to be hospitality and tourism journal only. Again, assuming that many of you are interested in, technology or MIS, it can be a top journal in the MIS, like MISQ, MIS Quarterly. Then you can, go to their website through your university's library, and, just leisurely checking their most recent articles, and what are the topics that most published, and then learn about the trends and everything, and find the interesting articles. That can be one good way to do that. Again, you don't need to read like all like articles recently published. I mean, it is actually I would say impossible because by the sheer number of articles that are published, this is just too many to follow all. It is impossible. But if you're having a specific idea or topic area that you are narrowing down, then definitely that's something that you wanna do. Because without knowing what are the topics that has been discussed, I mean, how can you find your own topic and adding value to the prior research? So that's one of the great ways to expose yourself to the world of research, and then also finding topics. And also, you can choose to follow a researcher or a researchers. Let's say that you happen to know a researcher that you find like very interesting. I mean, I like her research. I love his new article, and then you can follow that researchers or that professor's journal articles. And one of the ways you can do is go to the Google Scholar, and you can actually follow them. And then whenever they publish new articles, and you will receive an email, which title, which journal, and you get an ideas, and you constantly keep updated about that researcher's most recent research. So that is one of the other ways to expose yourself to research, but also find a interesting topic for your next research. And another way to expose yourself to research and then also finding topics is attending conferences. Because thinking of the journals, I mean, from the moment that the researchers get in a research question, and then they collect data and then analyze it and then submit to a journal, and then it goes through a review process, and luckily if it's not, I mean, if it's not rejected and going through revisions, and then it takes time. Normally it involves multiple reviewers, and they take time, and then coming back, and it just takes time, and then sometimes it involves more than one, I mean, 2 times, 3 times, I mean, the revisions and going back and forth, and then you have a time to revise it, and going back and forth, I mean, it takes time. So by the time it's just published article, it's really new, but probably the data used in that research is like, at least 1 year old, like sometimes 2 years, 3 years old data. But I mean, it is valuable, still like applicable, it can be, but if you go to the conferences, attend the conferences, and if you listen to their research ideas, and many times it's with results, and then you are exposing yourself to the most recent stream of research. And what's really new, what are the topics that people are talking, you can get insights out of that and apply, find your next new topic. So it's attending conferences is really a good one. Another way to get a really great idea is exposing yourself to news articles. Especially in our area, hospitality and tourism, it is very applied, and we want to also want to make our research more impactful, not only meaningful and contributable to the literature or academia, but also we want our research meaningful to society, right? And then to understand that I think having a habit of reading news articles can be a really a good one. Subscribing like a Wall Street Journal, like or the Financial Times, etc. And then you understand what's the hot issue, important ones, and then that can be a great food for your thoughts. So that can be a one good one. And also, if you're really have a desire to conduct a impactful research to practitioners, one of the journals that you may want to follow is Harvard Business Review, and that is like published for, I mean, their target is not only academia, but more on, C-level executives in the industry. And there is really, really good articles there. And you may get a great insights out of that. And some, I mean, it's not necessarily in hospitality, but many are can be, directly related to our industry, or even more important in tourism and more important in the hospitality. So you can get a really great insights out of that as well.
Okay. Professor Cole.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes.
you left there. After this exposure today, I want to share my experience about how I find the research topics.
Oh, sure.
Okay. I have a several research project with my master degree students and the PhD degree students and colleagues. One topic is about UNESCO heritage. UNESCO heritage case is one of my colleagues suggest me, why don't you work with me about UNESCO heritage? It's chosen by UNWTO, and UNESCO heritage is one of the very famous, authentic, tourist place for attracting people. But in my judgment, we don't care much about that UNESCO heritage and cultural site. So I say, okay. And I met a colleague in a conference, like you mentioned, conference. He is doing greatly data-driven analysis. He's from the College of Computing department. He said he's doing greatly well the image correction. So I said, okay, let's do some collaborative work with him about collecting text data as well as image data about the UNWTO and the UNESCO heritage site. And there must be gap between the UNESCO advertising and personal experience at the TripAdvisor. So TripAdvisor is a commercial site, and UNESCO is official, a government site sort of things, non-profit organization. There must be big gap between the advertisement point and the actual experience point. So we are going to initiate the data-driven about that. That is my research topic currently. Another one is I am working on like a rhetoric theory. Rhetoric theory is introduced by Aristotle. And I applied that rhetoric theory to the Airbnb, which is very similar rhetoric theory, logos, pathos, ethos. And I am matching with that rhetoric theory into that application site. And I'm collecting data by survey as well as data-driven. That's another one. And I happen to be meet something like why don't you think about this? And then I asking to my students to look for like your journals and articles, and then finding the matching the theory and the phenomenon. So phenomenon these days definitely AI. So recently I visiting the TripAdvisor or ChatGPT or Claude. They're giving their review summary for users and travelers. So I'm collecting review summary providing by ChatGPT, providing by actual hotel, providing by AI. So their review summary is a bit different, branded by hotel, ChatGPT, and humans. So I do investigate on how they different to the human perceive the review summary provided by human AI and hotel. There's definitely a new phenomenon in this AI era, and I'm finding that phenomenon with the theory. So this is what I'm doing is sometimes I impulsively finding research topics. Sometimes I'm reading articles.
Yeah.
Sometimes I met my colleagues and talking about something idea sharing and then
Right.
finding it.
Yeah.
So all different kind of source I'm using. Okay. That's what I'm
Absolutely.
experiencing. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly what I was trying to say. And thank you so much for sharing your experience, Dr. Koo. I mean, it's like, puzzle pieces, right? So it's like, AI is really big these days. And then, there are like data sources available and also, talking with colleagues and, there's, a topic that, mutually want to explore together, for example, like UNESCO heritage site, etc., and then all those kind of things, together, and then like, oh, it's like a puzzle pieces together, and then oh, this is a house there. This is like the tree there. It's just it becomes a more concrete and Dr. Koo mentioned about data like TripAdvisor data and all those kind of things. This is like a lot of data are available, and that leads to my next slide. And I want to talk a little bit more about it later today. So sometimes many times the research research questions. We start with the specific research questions. We already know what we are trying to solve. We know what are the main questions that we have, and then collect data. And sometimes or many times, many of my colleagues they start with the research questions and then based on theory and then a model, and they design survey questions and or sometimes they use focus groups and things like that. But that way, they are collecting data for that research. But many other researchers, they use existing data collected by someone else for other purposes. So, for example, like a TripAdvisor, that's mainly like a review data. I mean, it's not all of them, but it is, and also the scope is expanding. But it's collected for other purposes. It's not collected for my research, right? And then also for me, I work on the financial data a lot, and which I'm gonna share with you soon. But those data are collected for the investing public, not for my research purposes. I use those data.
This connection happened to Zoom conference all the time. There's an unstable case, and there's happening to us all the time. Probably because of that, this happening because of the broadband or American infrastructure is not enough for visual conference. I think Korea is no problem at all. We are rich. So this is happening many times in this Zoom conference, and some of country allegedly the advanced country or developed country, but actually they don't invest much on infrastructure and broadband. It's not understandable, but it is true. Like England, even England, they don't have much money to invest in infrastructure. So if you go to the London, there is a terrible condition of especially subway. Wow. And you cannot access your Wi-Fi connection in subway. And you cannot access your mobile phone via your telecommunication in subway. It is true in London. And people who are living in London, they are endured that the infrastructure condition in the London. I don't know why, but anyway, they think that happened to the individual life, and then a lot of the commercial subway system is operating by commercial companies. So the subway system in Korea is run by government, run by city. So we are investing a lot of tax money to subway update. But in London, that subway allocate to the commercial companies, and the commercial company not have much money to invest. So that was the surprising to me at that time when I was living in London. It's so surprising. And another one is America. It's a huge country. So the telecommunication infrastructure is only very, 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 very workable in the city area. Okay.
I think I'm back. All right, it's
Okay.
suddenly disconnected. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm not sure where it got disconnected.
Okay.
Let me go back to my slide.
Sure.
This.
Good.
Yeah. So using existing data collected by other people for other purposes, and you know, an example can be a TripAdvisor or Airbnb.com, right? If you go to the website, then it's like you see the title and then pictures and all those kind of information. That can be a data point as well. For me, I work with the financial performance data a lot, and I use a lot of times the data collected for the investing public. So if companies are traded in the stock market, they're like a public companies, they're dealing with investing public, they are required to disclose their information with the investing public. So they on an annual basis, they have to submit a audited the annual report to the Securities and Exchange Commission in case of the United States. And it's the same thing for Korea. Or almost all our countries is, I mean, that is the requirement. So that's the data collected by government agencies, but I can use the data for my research purposes. And then sometimes, looking at those data set and the relationship or the patterns that can lead to a research questions. So if you're using a secondary data or existing data collected for other purposes, then it can be like both ways. For the left side one, if you're using the primary data, the other way doesn't work because the data is collected for a specific research, and then it doesn't exist before collecting data. So I want to focus on the right side of a kind of data and how to use those data for your research. But the question that you may wanted to ask is, so okay, so what kinds of data are available? Without knowing, how can you come up with research topics? So it is important to know what kinds of data are available to you. And as I briefly mentioned, and all the data points that or the information that you see, especially online, they can be considered as data. And then also, if you think of the sheer value, the size of the volume of the data these days, everybody carries their mobile phone, and the moment that you move from, for example, your home to your school, I mean, the distance that you go through, I mean, you went from location point A to point B. I mean, that's a data point as well. And if you take the photos, right, and take videos, then it is a data point as well. And because of the advance of technology, and also the capacity of handling data, it has been exponentially increased over the last decade. And now all those data becomes available, and now we are in a position to or capability to analyze those data. And so you can I hope you can see all the information that you can access to. Think it as a data points that can be potentially used for your own research. So what it means is essentially you want to remain curious. You stay curious about all the things that you see, and then, oh, that's interesting. Why does that happen, right? And then it can be lead to your research question or research topic. So I want to share some kind of data points that I've been using for my research with some examples, and from this point. So I mentioned about the annual report that public companies are required to submit. And again, those reports and then the contents on that report can be a data point, and it can be used for the research purposes as well. So the EDGA filing system is one of the things that I use. And then this is their database. It is called the EDGAR. Here it's electronic data gathering, analysis, and retrieval system. And if you do a search, and then you can access to their annual reports. Let's say because this is a smart tourism group, let's put Airbnb. Airbnb is a public company, and then you submit it, and then here comes okay. Only one. And they're like let's go back. Let's use simple there. There you go. And then there are like different kinds of reports, and current reports, and quarterly reports, and then proxy reports and things like that. But the annual report is the form name is 10K, and if you click it, then you can go to their annual report directly, and there's a logo and a company name.
Okay, once again is stop. Okay. Tian. 你叫什么名字? How can I pronounce your name?
Professor, my name is, you can call me Lottie.
Lottie.
Yes.
Lottie.
Yeah, you can call me Lottie.
你叫 Lottie. 我叫철모, right? 我姓朱.
Professor, your name is Ju.
제모.
Kutomo. Sorry, Professor, I don't know the Tomo's Chinese name. I just know the family name is Ju.
Okay. 我姓朱 and 我叫철모.
Yes, right.
我学中文每天.
Yeah, your Chinese is good.
我是京师大学教授.
Perfect, Professor.
很难.
It's really good, really.
Huh?
It's really good.
学汉语 is 很 재밌다.
I'm so sorry. I came back.
It's okay.
I don't know why it's just so unstable. I'm not
Okay.
sure where it got disconnected. Did you see the Airbnb 10K, the report? And I was explaining the contents briefly. Yeah, that's where we got disconnected.
It's okay. We're enjoying your connecting and disconnecting. This is what we are living in this world, and how the American infrastructure is unstable, I think. And I don't know. Probably
It's so
Korea.
different from Korea. I mean, it's it never happens in Korea, right?
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, so that's the you get the idea. So that's the annual report that companies provide, and then actually it's a lot of information that they're disclosing to people outside of their company, and that's one of the reasons why people. I mean, some companies choose to stay private. They don't need to deal with those investing public, and then also some kind of activists, and they try to influence to your decision making and so forth. But there are like pros and cons for like and everything. But definitely as a public companies, it is they have to share like a great deal of information with investing public. It is for the public companies whose stocks are available or traded in the U.S. stock market. What about Korean companies, Korean public companies? If that's the case, you go to the DART filing system. That's this is very similar to the EDGAR system. You go to the DART system. And then I hope.
I don't know very well about that.
DART. So it's corporate filings is the same thing. I thought I put the link and then I checked, but it's not working. Anyway, it is very similar to the EDGAR filing system. And if you put the here you go. So this is a Korean public companies information, like company like CJ Corporation, for example, and it's food related. And then let's see. as an example, like you put this search, then you have the information there available, and there so periodic why no result, like I think I need to put sorry. I think it's a probably the internet
Mhm.
connection
Okay, you can
issue.
skip it.
But yeah, but
Okay.
anyway, the idea is the same. So it's just it's just very similar. There the structure of the annual report is just very similar, and the difference is instead of in English, and you will see the Korean there. But basically, the kind of information they're disclosing is the same, and it can be used as your data points. And but when you think about collecting data, okay, there's companies, it can be restaurant companies, it can be tourism companies, it can be cruise lines, and let's say that you specify this in industry, and you are collecting data, or at least you want to take a look at what kind of information is there, and then if you're like looking at the one company by company, that's totally fine, and then you can get some insights out of that. But if you want to do some kind of research and doing a data analysis, and then sometimes or many times you need multiple data points, right? And then collecting what is the best way to collect it. One of them is using the database, right? Words database is the database that I'm using for my research purposes. And most of the time, you will see from the journal articles that it is from those data sources. So there are different kinds of data or databases. So for example, like this LSEG, this is the CSAR data, and then CRSP or CRISP, that is the stock price data. So there are like different kinds of data points available. If you want to take a look at the financial data, then you will use the CompuStat, for example. And as North American, you can have the global data, but I quickly wanted to show you. So it is how the database looks like, and then you can choose your data range, like 2010 to 2025, where it goes back to like 1950, June of 1950, and you got all the data. As far as they're publicly tradable, they have to disclose their information, financial and non-financial related data, and then those are retrievable. And then you put your company's code, and you can also filter by the industry classification by the industry, and also what kind of information you want to download, and you will specify based on your research topic and hypotheses and things like that. So that is one of the very efficient way to get collect the data and use it for your research purposes.
Okay,
so
Professor, is that data source is free for everybody?
Not really. So what happened? So the thing is, what happens is a great question, right? I mean, I want to have the data, and then how can I collect the data, right? So all the universities they normally subscribe those databases. So I got my information, the access through my university, and I'm sure the Gyeonggi University has a way to but they basically subscribe. And then they pay at the university level, and then some get access to that if their research area is but also as far as who has an access to which kind of data, you can collaborate, right? So there are like many different ways to get access to the data, but the thing is but you have to know what kind of data are available, right? And then many times also I ended up using like multiple data sets and then merge it, make a big data set for the analysis. But without knowing what kind of data are available, it is hard to be led to my next research topic. So that's the reason why I wanted to share this database, what are available out there. And if you want to have the data access, you can find a way. But if you don't know what kind of data are available, right? I mean, you cannot even like try. So that's the reason I wanted to share this database with students. Those data are available, and you can use it for your research purposes. And then, who has access is another issue, right? But Dr. Koo has a lot of great network, and including me. But if you want to find it, you can find it. So that's the point I wanted to make.
Good.
And then this is an example. Like if you ended up downloading the Excel file, right? So this is a data that I collected for my current research, and then as you see here on the left side, it is company name and then fiscal year, their the unique code for stock trading and segmentation and so forth. And then I downloaded like a market value of the company's stock price and then number of common stocks and balance sheet items, right? And assets and then it moves on to liabilities and then equity, and then moves on to the income statement, like revenue and net income and so forth, so that I can calculate different kinds of dependent variable. I normally use multiple measurements to measure financial performance, and these are the ingredients that can be used to calculate, ROE, ROA, those Tobin's Q, etc., etc. But first I downloaded this data, and then it is in the form of Excel file, and then the bottom one is the ESG related data, right? And then the environment, social, and the governance, and they have the points, and then the next step is to merge these two data sets and then make a big data for your research. So that's how I collect data and clean it for the analysis. And as you see here, like for the same company, we get multiple years of data points. So I normally do a panel data analysis. But this is how you collect the data and what kind of data are available. So the related projects I wanted to introduce you as an example. The impact of international financing reporting standard. They have a new regulations came on the ESG reporting, and the question is, how does that affect the contents of the ESG reporting of tourism and hospitality companies, and how does that affect the financial performance? So it is just adopted. It's 2024. Every company should follow that. And then so I wanted to compare like before 2024 the regulation, and then after it, what kind of change has been made, and connecting that to the financial performance. That's a current project that my co-authors and I have been working on for a conference in summer. Right? It's a really recent project. Another one is a better connected boards, and that connection of the boards and how that influence corporate social responsibility. So that was another example of, using SDR, using the ESG or corporate social responsibility related data to the financial performance. And there are like multiple different kinds of database available on ESG as well. And as you read in journal articles, and if you go to the data section, they'll specify which data base they have used and which specific data they have used, as well as the data range and so forth. You get information. So once you know it, and then you can start searching what kind of data I have access to, and then can connect that to your research topic. And another example is this paper, this industry academia gap on the corporate governance issues in tourism and hospitality. So on that data, I have used a certain portion of the annual reports. So in that paper, I have focused on corporate governance issues specifically. And the annual report, I briefly showed that to you. There are like different like items and sections, and item 10 of the annual report is specifically about the directors, executive officers, and corporate governance. It is under that section, they specifically talk about like corporate governance issues. And my kind of, I was curious what the industry is talking about the corporate governance issues, and is the academia touching that issue and or answering their questions. That was the main idea. So I collected data from the annual reports. This public information. I collected the data specifically under that particular item, and then I analyzed. I did the automatic content analysis using Leximancer, and I compared like 4 different industries, but for the sake of the limited space here, I'm showing the 2 only. And anyway, I found that what are the main themes in relation to the corporate governance, and then I made the comparisons and discussed. So that is one of the examples how you can utilize available data for research. So it can be both numerical data and also is content data as well. So
my questions.
Sure.
Before we move, your previous slide, previous one. No, previous. This one. You single author. What the hell? How much time you are doing this research by yourself? This is a great time you spend.
Yeah, I did. I did spend a lot of time on it. But I already knew how to use Leximancer for prior research projects. And I came up with this research question. It was always in my mind, even these days, right? I mean, we are like, writing papers and then, doing, we're putting, Dr. Ku, you too, right? I mean, you're putting a lot of
my order to my students do it.
Okay.
I don't do myself. How can you do this by yourself? It's you tons of time you spend, and you're busy, and you got new idea in your brain. I know that, but it's an idea in your brain, and then working by your hands is totally.
I
have to analyze it by yourself. You have to writing by yourself, and everything you should done by yourself. And such a top tier journal of travel and tourism marketing, and you paper published by a single author is nonsense.
I mean, I love collaborating with my co-authors. I mean, really, and especially with my graduate students, right? My prior graduate students. I mean, this is abnormal, it's just an outlier.
Yes, it's
Normally
very
I
outlier.
yeah, I normally I work with other colleagues and
But I
um,
admire your achievement, a paper publication by yourself, and
uh,
which is damn difficult, and which is a great effort you devote to yourself, and
mm,
great idea, industry and academia gap on corporate governance issue, which is a timely, necessary topic in the era of ESG, environmental, social, and governance.
mhm,
Actually, the data set you download
mhm.
paid by yourself.
Um, I had a grad student who helped
Okay, I see.
collecting the data, but she was not a part of my research team.
Uh,
Nothing like that.
okay.
As a student working at the library,
Uh,
who were willing to help
okay.
collecting data.
Uh,
That's it. There was some resource available for me, and I showed my appreciation, separately. I mean, it's not a
mm,
part of
mm,
um, my research, team, anything like that.
mm,
So the I this is great help, but
mm,
once I get the particular part
mm,
of the annual report, and then everything else. I mean, I had to do it myself, but
mm,
it's sometimes that's okay. And then
mm.
also it is sometimes it's needed.
Yes, yes. Mm.
So that was the reason,
Okay, I see.
basically. Yeah.
Great. And the next
Um,
slide, you analyze by yourself. This one.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Casino, game, and hotel. There's a
yeah, and
different
then
approach and strategy.
right, and then also I compared the leisure facilities and the
Mm,
restaurants. I had like a
mm, mm,
uh, four industry groups that
mm,
I had based on industry classification,
mm,
GICS.
mm,
And I compared, what are the different topics they're
mm,
emphasizing in
mm.
relation to corporate governance. And it can be applied to many other things, right?
Okay.
If it is about, it can be anything. Um, like what can be the example, like a legal proceedings. I mean, a
Mm,
specific part of the annual report, and then it
mm,
can be
mm,
analyzed, and then also it doesn't need to be the contents from annual report. And it can be some other text text data, then it can be analyzed, and then coming up with the themes. Um, and so anyway, so that was another example that I wanted to share with you. And those were like a public companies data, and that is a good thing because many people actually do use public data, those annual the data appearing on the annual report, because it's readily available, right? And it is already in the form of database, and relatively easier and straightforward to download. I mean, it's that they're like different. I mean, nothing is. I mean, they're like pros and cons, right? I mean, if you're like collecting data, I mean, you design your survey and you have to go through an IRB, and I mean, they're like different issues for different set of data. But anyway, if you're using secondary data, many people use public companies' data because those data are available. If I even if I want to include private companies, I mean those data are not available. There's no reason those private companies to share their their data or their decision. Why is that? And then how much they made profit, and so forth with public. There's no reason to disclose such information. Therefore, most of the cases I'm ending up using public companies data. They're like huge companies. Like if there's a hotel companies, it's like Marriott and Hilton, like those kind of big companies. But there are like other smaller companies. There are small businesses there. So that's the reason sometimes, many times I started thinking about, okay, what about the other kinds of companies, and what about like small properties? So here comes the other data source that I have used and I want to share with you. And again, since it is a group of smart tourism researchers, and if it's a tourism data, the social media data like Instagram, the Facebook, etc., that can be data points as well. And also the customer review data, it is the TripAdvisor, for example. I mean, I got the link there, but I'm afraid I lose my connection. It's just well, let me just hit it. Customer review data can be a data point as well. And then the startup data, I was thinking about those smaller companies, and I stumbled upon the idea of crowdfunding, and those are like a really smaller companies, and I do want to show the website to you all. So basically, the idea is the entrepreneurs, the small businesses, if they are like especially in the early stage. There are not many ways to raise funds. You need money to start up a business, but without the history of making profits, and the more on like generating your ability to generate a certain level of revenue constantly. This is extremely hard, almost impossible to get a debt financing or get a loan from a bank. And then it's not easy to find investors. You are just too new. So here comes one of the ways that smaller and entrepreneurs to get some funding. And one of them is like a food, right? And then let's see the popularity, the sort by popularity. And then, now it's 34,540 projects available. And some are like closed, some are still like going on. And it's, I found like the Bongsuk's gochujang sauce. That's a 121% funded. So it's a success case. And then if I click and then show that to you. So, this entrepreneur, they have come up with this gochujang sauce, and they're selling it. They're try to expand their market and make their product available in the market. But they're like very small. It's not like big companies in Korea. And then they are introducing themselves to the crowdfunders. Those might be interested in chipping some money for their product in their company. And then their goal was to raise $3,000. This is really too small. Sometimes they use it for the marketing purposes. But also at the same time, it is a great, one of the ways that they can raise funds for their company or business. And then normally like 30 to 60 days, they can make it available. And with that, during that time, if they successfully raise funds of the funding goal, if they successfully meet their funding goal, then they get the money. And then and they share their story, and include the photos and the videos, and they share their stories and things like that. And then these, like on the right side, it's to see like you can like chip in like $1. I mean, if you really want to see this happen, you can contribute $1. But there are like many opportunities, and $30, and then you can basically get two two of them, the products and things like that. So there are like different packages available. But you know, many times, you know, sometimes depends on the project. Sometimes they already have the products designed already, but sometimes it is in the earlier stage of their business, and then but still they share their ideas and products, and then, you know, what they wanted to do with the money and so forth. So these are I get to know about this opportunity, right? And the GoFundMe, it is more philanthropic causes. You know, somebody lost their house because of fire, right? Or someone like unfortunately, you know, the dad passed away, and the remaining, you know, family. I mean, the old the stories. I mean, they share it and then ask their friends and family or, you know, crowd to help the family or the individual. I mean, there's a different kinds of crowdfunding, but these are I get to know about these avenue. And then but what I'm trying to say is, regardless is a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or TripAdvisor, you're gonna see the information right here, right? Normally with the title, right? And then there are some key information. If it is a TripAdvisor review data, or the number of reviews, and the review balance, right? And all those kind of things can be considered as a data points, and you can collect the data, right? So for me, what's important was that the title here, and the videos, and also the texts here, and how much they achieved, and how many backers are there, and so forth. There's sort of all data points. And then, you know, if you know, go to the comments, and then, you know, you will see some kind of, you know, review there, and the questions. And then you know, there are like different kinds of information there. Again, this can be considered. Now, from now on, I hope that you see these and then consider it as a data points, potential data points that can be used for your next research project.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is property level data. For my college, I am actually in a liaison between our college and the co-star, or previously is STR. And they have accumulated a really large amount of data for the last 3 decades. And it's a not a company level data, it's property level data. Like there are like many Hiltons around the world, but each property has their own you know, financial data or revenue data, right? And then those data are available, and I have used those data for my research as well. So this is the example of how I use the startup funding data, the Kickstarter data. And then for that, I come up with this research topic: selling ideas on the fundraising platform, the role of image aesthetics through deep learning and the econometric analysis. So one of the data set I have, I mean, it's not me. I mean, it is a really difficult kind of data set, which you have to, you know, click it to see, you know, further data. It is it's really a higher level, and I get to know a computer scientist who can collect data for me. I have used my grant money for that purposes. But I at the end of the day, this is kind of data set I got, right? So you know, each one is, you know, data points, and for each project is each data point, and then you have, you know, all different kind of, you know, data available. And then sometimes you know, I needed to merge that to other. But sometimes I use it, but for this purpose, specific paper, the image aesthetics and how pretty the images are, and then how that is related to funding success. That was the idea. So again, looking at those the platforms and the websites, and then you can view that as data points and use that for your next research topic. That's the point I want to make. For
Well,
the
the title is very interesting.
yeah.
The selling idea on fundraising platform. That means a company place an order kind of a fundraising for collecting money, and then they highlighted something aesthetic, the image point for getting attention from the fundraiser. That's what I'm
Yes, that's basically the idea. And
saying.
yeah, how appealing the image is, right? That
Appealing.
is how important that is. And
Yes.
I use the Kickstarter data for that.
Mhm.
And the next one is data points coming from the STR or co-star. And as you see here, like, they have, ID numbers and then different ID numbers. And then, like, this is a monthly data. And then supplies the number of rooms available per month, and then number of rooms sold, and the room revenue. And with that, they or the lodging industry calculate key performance indicators, which are occupancy, ADR, or RevPAR. So that is a financial data, but also like other kind of information can be linked, like the region, right? I mean, they're like more specifically, they can go like not only city level, like sub market level. It can go a little in more detail, and which kind of chain and owner company, management company, and so forth, and the size of or the class of the hotel, and the location, and open date and size of the company. And these are categorical variables, but these are available, and it can be used for research purposes as well. So those data are available, and then SDR or CoStar is not the only one. CBRE, they also work with academia, and then not only, both CBRE and CoStar, not only they have the information or data points for occupancy, their RevPAR, but also they have the income statement data, like revenues and expenses, and NOI or net operating income. So those can be used for the research purposes as well. And then also the Airbnb. I mean, it's the same thing. I have published several papers on with regards to Airbnb, and those are again, look at it as data points, and then what insights I want to get out of it. It can be used as your data points. And the next question to ask is, okay, so I know that with those are data available that potentially I can use for my next research. But another important question to ask is, am I capable of analyzing data, right? And if so, in what capacity? So those are really another really important aspect that you want to think of. Because the more capable you can analyze data, you actually know how those data are actually used for your research purposes. And so I want to share some ideas how to expand your data analysis capabilities. And then also you're currently a student in Kyunghee University, and this is like a really a precious time you decide to invest in your life, right? To develop yourself. And I really hope that you get the most out of it. Because after graduation, you may not it can be much harder to find the time and energy you can allocate for this purposes. So now is just really the perfect timing. You can expand your data analysis capabilities. And then one of the ways to do it is taking classes at your university, like at Kyunghee University. It doesn't if there's like a too difficult classes, I mean, you may audit it. You may get a approval from a professor, and then you may just audit it. But I would try to see what classes are available in relation to that analysis, and try to take a lot of those classes while you're at your university. The other way to do is taking online classes, and the MIT and Harvard, like really top universities in the world, they actually open their courses and it's free. MIT open courseware, for example, like artificial intelligence. It is AI. This is really a hot topic, and this is great time to expose to those topics. And not only that, exposing yourself to top universities' contents, right? It is readily available, right? Artificial intelligence and some are undergraduate level, some are graduate level classes, and then you can take those classes and increase your understanding of the topic. And also the Harvard, they also have offer free courses. Select idea, like let's say like data science, for example. It can be many other areas, but data science, introduction to like a more advanced one, like machine learning, all those kind of things is really available. You just click it. This is all free. If you want to get a certification out of that, you have to pay for $149. But if it's auditing is for free, right? And then they make like all the resources available, and you're learning directly from the top researchers in the world, and those are like really available to you and to me. So, and also I mean, these days things are changing so quickly, and everybody to stay competitive, they should be a lifetime learner. I think, and then I'm like planning to take those classes myself as well. But the point I wanted to make is take those classes and make yourself more competitive and then more capable. And it will open a lot more doors to you. And as you become more competent in what you're doing, and you will feel like more joy out of it, and it becomes more meaningful and more enjoyable. And this is really a good thing. I highly recommend. And some like YouTube videos, right? That Kevin Strawbert is a former Microsoft employee, and then he has his YouTube videos, and he has like a 3.52 million subscribers. So this is really one of the most well-known people in the YouTube world. I mean, but I mean, again, he started his main thing has been like Excel tutoring, how to use Excel, and from beginner level to the advanced level. He shows the examples, and he says really explains well. And these days, he moves on to like a lot of topics like related to AI, and then ChatGPT and those kind of things. But these this is really a great tool that you can use to expand your data capacity, data analysis capacities. And as you've seen before, a lot of the times, the data that you see, the data points, right, that you will ended up having from those websites. What you're going to see is at the end of the day is a form of Excel spreadsheet, and your capabilities to work those data sets. This is a really great asset. So those can be a great source as well. And the last but not least, participating in research projects can be amazing way to increase your data analysis capabilities, right? Just looking at somebody else explaining it doesn't necessarily mean that you have developed that kind of capabilities, right? You can by participating in research projects, you will learn. You will actually deal with data. You will see actual data, and then you will actually try to find pattern in doing it. You will learn better about not only the data itself, but also the tools, like the statistical tools, and you learn about research in general, but also the data analysis capabilities as well. So,
okay, Professor Cole,
yeah,
I never heard about that information source, MIT open courseware, Harvard University free course, and Kevin Starvert, which is a great the information for our students. Probably the students maybe ignore that, how their importance of the data source and the teaching platforms. So I am just reinforcing the importance of this information to our students right now. Please, especially my students here, please take a look and access this one and learning techniques from here. I need a rise. I need a great horse to ride. I'm just a jockey, and so students must learning these techniques from other computer science and other data analytics department or analyzer or expert. Then they can improve their hands-on experience for data analytics, and then actually companies are looking for those kind of a young professional the employee these days.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So definitely the master degree students in this, not only master, is a PhD student, definitely access this website and then try to explore how to use the valuable data set or the learning set from those sites.
Actually, when I was pursuing my PhD, right, and I was taking a class, this is really, really hard, and I recognize a specific topic that I didn't take a classes. So I went to a MIC open course, and I actually took the class along with other classes at the doctoral level. But I also took the class, but this is really, really helpful. And also it's free, right?
Yeah, right.
This is really wonderful sources that you can utilize.
Yeah. Through my the advisorship experience so far, every single semester and then every single year, a few students come to my lab and under my supervision. Actually, I don't do analysis anymore, but I give the information to my students. Hey, this is a site, you have to go there and the learning there and the R program, whatever Python program there. And I'm always sharing something, the kind of a analytics course with my students. You know the Yerin.
Yeah.
She actually, when she came to me, she has no idea about data, and she couldn't handle any R programming and Python programming at all. And I'm asking her to learning the R programming and Python programming, and I'm sharing the website. This is a site you can learn, and I'm sponsoring some the money for her, and she learning the R program from there. And
Yeah.
now she fantastically, collecting data and analyzing data. And her paper is appeared in the Annals of Tourism and TM and JTR because
Yeah.
of these analytics skills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. It can be really a game changer for
Yes.
like everybody. Right?
Yes.
So
Especially young scholar here, junior and master degree students and PhD students. Even if you got the PhD from Kyunghee University or master degree from Kyunghee University, without analyzing data anymore, just you got your certification of master degree and you got your certification of PhD. That's it. No more value at all. It is true. So you must access this website uh, sharing by Professor Cole and learning by yourself. Okay.
or like if there's a group of students in this group and who wants to pursue things together, it can be a great thing. It can be challenging to do by yourself, right? But if like one more person, right, or two more people doing the same things together, set a time, every Friday morning, right? You go to the website together and learn, right? It can be a something you may think about.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
highly
Yes.
um,
Thank you.
so that's what I have. And then any questions, please feel free to ask.
So once again, my experience about the research, young students here, definitely you got your data analytics skills and techniques. Then your paper or your research project can be evaluated by the other people, which is a great one. And just a survey-based data is not much value anymore comparing to the past time. So these days, is second-hand data and data by your data crawling, embed, harvest. That's definitely a great value. And then reviewers and the journal editors like the kind of real hands-on data. So I think so what I'm surprising these days in the U.S. schools look for us look for a researcher who can handle the data well, regardless of inside of a U.S. school, outside of a U.S. school, doesn't matter.
And
These days, like a MIS department, a lot of highest students got a job in the U.S. school because of data skills and analytics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finally
Yeah,
published
absolutely.
in the decent journal with the data
Right.
skills.
Yeah.
So that is it. So like today, I know Dr. Professor Cole, she providing very valuable point to us. You must understand what uh, she tried to say to us, you.
I hope they find some of the information useful, really.
Yes. Yes.
And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Just Google like Yunko or like YKOH at UH.edu is my email address. Feel free to contact me if you are interested in pursuing your PhD. Or we have postdoctoral. If you already have your PhD, there are postdoc positions available at our university. But if you're thinking about it, contact us early. That makes a whole difference. And so feel free to contact me. And even if it's I'm not the person or it's not my area, I can direct you to another professor.
Okay.
But it's, feel free to
Okay.
contact me if you need.
And Dr. Ko, I wish to hear from you about the college life in Houston as a master degree and a PhD degree. Probably the Houston is one of the leading schools in hospitality
Yeah,
domain. Okay.
We're very proud of our students, and one thing that I wanted to tell you is like it's a master's, but everybody's already pursuing their masters, right? There's no undergraduate students here, right?
No.
Right. So if this pursuing masters, we can offer the scholarships, of course, based on their capabilities and everything, evaluation, because there's process involved in it. But if they got a scholarship, what's good about it is they pay in-state tuition, which is about like one third of the tuition they're paying. Other international students are paying, or someone coming from outside of the states. So it can be really really good for the our PhD program. I've been serving as a PhD admission committee. I've been serving as a chair for the last few years so far. We really we are different in many ways. First of all, we are like a 3-year program. Whereas many programs is a 4-year program. But regardless, you are a 3-year program, 4-year, they don't care, right? The potential employer, right? The universities and the research universities, what they wanted to see from their students is their potential faculty is their research capability, right? And then also their ability to teach. So those are the really important things. Of course, fit and everything is important, but how as a candidate for a faculty, how do you prove your research capabilities? Many times based on your research experience, publication record. So, if we start in a 3-year program like everybody else, our students will not be successful. So what we do is the moment they come to our program, already they are matched with an advisor. This is really very special about our program. Some programs, they spend the first year and then they decide they're paired with their major advisor. So they left within 3 years. But we are even before coming to our program, they know who their advisor is. They start talking. And then also many of two of my prior doctoral students, they are now professors in the leading research universities. But I met them as a master's student here, and then we continued a PhD. So that can be very effective. But even if you're coming from other master's program, if you contact early enough with professors, and then you can even start working on a project again to have the best result by the time that you are in the job market. So that's a very unique aspect of our PhD program, but also you should be a good teacher, right? So the way that we designed our doctoral program is first semester they take a teaching methodology class where they learned what is the teaching in many different aspects of teaching, what makes what kind of how to develop a course, and what can be the effective strategies and how to manage class and then so forth. And they also follow their main advisor's course. So they have an exposure to the prior class. In the second year, they teach their own class as a sole instructor. Not every program offers their students that such opportunities. But again, by the time that you're in a job market, if you haven't have any record of teaching a class, how they know this person can be a good teacher? Right. So having an experience of teaching their own class, this is really critical. And we do provide that opportunity to all of our PhD students. That's another really big factor. And also we are one of the major, located in major cities. We're in the fourth largest cities. There are just a lot of connections with industry, and things are going on. I mean, and then we have a lot of great network with industry people, and we invite them a lot. And then I myself learn a lot by inviting them to my class. So one of the examples, I have my regular guest speakers for my master's level class, and he is a restaurant developer and one of big brand. And he used a multiple data to identify a perfect location for their restaurants, and they use a mobility data. They purchase it through a company, mobility data. They also use the census data. So they utilize those data to identify a specific spot for their next restaurant. And he's just showing like what factors are included and everything, right? I mean, it's just really eye-opening to me, and then it is great learning experience for me as well, not only for my students, but they're like everywhere. I mean, it's weird. It's just so easy to invite those people, and it's you're easy to learn, and what are the most hot topics and highly frequently discussed topics by the industry. You have a great exposure to the industry as well, great connections. So this is a really great, I think, is advantage. And then also the restaurant scene in Houston. It is just really huge, and then we have Michelin restaurants, Michelin starred restaurants, and all those kind of things. This is just you can expose yourself to the most recent trend of the hospitality scene, and I think this is a really great point. One more thing I want to add is every other year we host the graduate conference. For like 4 times I actually chaired the conference. And this is one of the major conferences in the hospitality industry, but it's created for graduate students, right? So the first author and also the presenter should be graduate students. And this is great job market, and it's many universities. If they want to hire people, then they come to the conference because they will. It is really easy to identify who are graduating this year and what topic, what are their expertise, and this is really great. And it is it's just really everybody is really focused on research. Sometimes, some conferences, people are more interested in, networking or sightseeing, right? To go somewhere, and then, in actual presentations, then not many people are there. I mean, it can happen, right? Sometimes that happens, but this particular conference, everybody's there, and it's the rooms are, full with people. Other students and other professors, and they provide constructive criticism, right? As the comments. And this is great environment, and then every other year we host it. What's good about it is not only that more opportunities they may have, but also they can save money for that. We provide a development fund for our PhD students. And then they use it for data collection purposes or attending conferences. And in that particular year, they don't need to spend money on by attending graduate conference, and they ended up going to another conference like ICRE or whatever conferences they want to go. So this is great advantage as well.
That's right.
So those are
Yeah,
some reasons I'm
I've been
so
to
proud.
Houston last January, and I am feel impressed from your
Yeah.
conference, which is a great focus on research itself rather than sightseeing, rather than networking.
Mm.
And I'm very give my compliment for your progressing achievement and your historic the conference career,
Thank
which is
you.
I'm going to copy from your conference to my WCST World Conference on Smart Tourism, which is going to be held in Macau 2025
Wow,
December.
that's great. I'll be happy to, help in, anyway. And then
Okay.
also please come again, especially when
Sure.
we host.
And nothing to see. I want to look around the South America, South Africa, and China, and Japan, and Australia.
Yeah.
America is not my type anymore. Okay, students, any question for her? It's a great time to ask your question to Professor Go. Whatever, it's an open window. Jinsun, I know you say something.
Uh, oh, the first, thank you for your presentation. I have a question about the process of research.
Mhm.
When you come up with a new research, do you usually tend to start by looking for available data and formulate topics based on data, or do you start with um, a theoretical framework after looking for relevant data?
Great question. I'll just say the insights are coming from everywhere. Um, Sometimes it is coming out of just looking at the data and what data are available, and then it's really interesting, and I want to see what makes some projects more successful, like why some are funded really successfully, but why some are not funded at all, like nobody's interested. And what makes a difference is, right? And it can be really great insights for those people, the entrepreneurs, and then just looking at the data, and also my curiosity, why that happens. Sometimes the research, the questions are coming out of that by looking at the patterns and questions on some phenomenon. And sometimes since I have more experience in dealing with different kind of data. Now I know what kind of data are available. And on top of that, by reading some articles or news articles, journal articles, and things like that, oh, this is really important. And I know that, okay, that data can be used for that particular the topic and a potential topic. So again, like it's puzzle pieces, but they're like different ingredients, or you're making a food, right? A dish, and then you can use like a different like ingredients, and then all together it becomes a very delicious dish. But really it depends, and sometimes by looking at the data, but sometimes many insights from different resources combined. So I'll just say like depends, but the more you are experienced with research, I think you become more familiar or feel more natural to find a good research topic.
Okay, and we are still 10 minutes further. Sure, you just beginning your master degree life. So what's your question you have?
Uh, Thank you for your lecture, Professor Yoon. Actually, I'm not familiar with data skills. I'm just freshman in graduate school. So, which data skills should I learn first?
Great question. It depends on where your interest is. probably by reading lots of research papers, some you may find some kind of topic or some kind of approach more appealing. For example, like some may find doing like a panel data analysis, basically the numerical data. And if you want to, you're interested in, working with numbers, which was my case at the beginning, right? And it is just really straightforward, and I like working with numbers. So that's how I started my research data. Started to build my research analysis skill, and but over time, gradually, my focus area, my interest has been expanded. So not only that, more recently, I'm doing a lot more content analysis, and then also as the environment change over time, and then also access of those statistical tools. So like, doing a content analysis, but, traditionally, we've been doing like, with counting, and then, people, trying to figure out, themes, and then they agree and then disagree, and then all those kind of things. I mean, it's still, valuable, but these days, like, a lot of different kinds of data tools made available. So those automatic the content analysis, the programs, softwares have been made available, and I like using those because it minimizes the human biases and try to approach data more objectively. But of course, I mean, there's no like a perfect objectivity because there are points out there, but it's up to us how we want to approach the data. And also it depends on like what kind of like insights I want to get out of it. And a lot of times it comes from the data itself, but also the perceptions of the researcher as well. I mean, it's not like human bias is not completely eliminated. It's not the case, right? At the end of the day, as a researcher, I come up with an idea and try to learn some kind of insight out of that and patterns out of it. But the way I see, I mean, I'm seeing from my point of view. I mean, of course, it eliminates like many kind of biases, and but also it is based on a researcher's perception as well. So again, read a lot of research articles, and then you will feel like gradually, that kind of analysis is really interesting. I want to do that, right? And then you may want to start with that kind of analysis using, many tools and courses, freely available to you. But also at the same time, they're like really basic kind of knowledge that everybody should know, like like basic stats and everything. I trust Gyeonghee University provides requires those courses to all the graduate students, and there's a reason for that. Make sure that you understand that. If something is unclear, I would go to those courses, and then try to listen to particular module, and try to understand more better through different people's explanations. That can be a way, but in terms of the specific tools, whatever you feel more appealing. And also the other thing is, once you learn how to use those statistical tools, you kind of learn how to learn those softwares. So when I was pursuing a master's students, my master's program degree, I was guided by a professor, and as a master's student, I took a doctoral level class. And it was like a really, really difficult. I mean, that's the combining all the master's classes together. This one is a lot harder, but there's a doctoral level required class. They use a SAS program for data analysis, and it's a really powerful program, but it has their own programming language that they use. So like I, type it and then like enter, and then like all the red signs and the meaning that something is not right, and then I spent like a good deal of time there. But once I learned it, I learned how to learn those kind of programs. So next time that I use other softwares, and I changed my main program to Stata when I was pursuing my PhD. I mean, to begin with, Stata is much more, the friendly kind of software. It is easier to use to begin with. But since I learned how to use a program, I feel much comfortable in learning on another program. And then new tools will come, a lot more frequent. I mean, the programs becomes available, and the new programs and new kind of approaches will continue to come. And I think this is really critical. You know how to learn things, and that is a great skill to develop. And whatever you feel like more appealing, you're gonna start it. But that's not the last one that you're gonna learn. That's the one of the tools that you're gonna learn. So don't be afraid to just try it and continue to learn.
Yes, that's right. You have a lot to do, Stata, SPSS, and Excels, and experimental design, and art programming. What else? And visualization, ArcGIS, QGIS, too many stuff.
Yeah. But that's your
I
power,
don't want to go
right?
back to my the student life. Yes, damn it. Okay, one last question. From whom?
So that's me.
Okay, go.
Thank you, Professor Gu, for sharing your expertise. So you have mentioned that the annual reports in your presentation that are publicly listed companies, raw data is considered as a data point for analysis. So I wonder, can we use data from third-party companies which gives consolidated financial data with infographics? Like, as I know, there are screeners available online for free. For instance, is TradingView, I guess, and there is a screener.com, investing.com. So is this the right approach for data collection in terms of research purpose or statistical analysis?
Great question. So when I was doing the studies on Airbnb, actually I have purchased the data collected by third party like AirDNA. That is the private company collecting data, knowing the demands of those data set. So I purchased it, but some data are available like freely. So inside Airbnb, that's a free, but it is available for a certain period, and it's constantly changing. You can definitely, but you can collect the data through collected by a third party company, and then use it for your research purposes. But one thing that you want to be careful is that those are like credible sources, right? It is collected by like whoever. I mean, the data should be credible. So if you have a specific third party that you are considering to use their data set, I would do a search and do a search specifically like research papers and then see is there any research paper that had used the data set. That is if this is the case, I mean, for AirDNA inside Airbnb, I knew that those are used for other publications and top journal publications. Those are credible sources. And then also I can like cite them because from the reviewer's point of view, it's how reliable the data source is. This is really critical as well. Probably that's the way you can do it, like to double check. But sometimes, like let's say like nobody have used it, but you can like verify as much as you can, and then you just justify. Sometimes those data are not available, right? But you find it like it's directly related to your research question, and then it can be immersed with other data set. It can be a great source as well. So that these are my suggestions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Almost time is up, and Professor Ko Yoon, highly appreciate your attendance here and great lecture for our students, especially data issue and how to get the data directly and how to learn your data analytics skills, sort of things. And then thank you for introducing your school and the conference. Probably some of the students may get your conference someday in the future. Then you have to say hello to her.
You should.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Professor Go, let's wrap up here, and thank you very much again, and look forward to see you next conference.
Yep, same here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye. See you. Look forward to see you next week. Bye.